Hello, hello, hello. I have not been live on YouTube in a very, very long time. Wow. I mean, I have not went live over here in a long, long time. I'll need to double check and make sure that I am um, that you guys can hear me okay. I think you can, but I just want to double check before we get started since I haven't been live over here in a long time. I just need to make sure that we are good. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So I just checked. Okay, perfect. So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Michelle Bradford, and I am coming to you guys live. It's been a while since I've come live, but I wanted to come live today. I don't know. I'm going to tell y'all, I thought today was Saturday. That's a hot mess to think today was Saturday. So let me just go through my spiel and we'll get started and kind of talk about some things today. I have 12 subscribers over here, and I am working on getting more over here from Facebook and Instagram. But until then, I just wanted to kind of come on here and just share on YouTube and not go live in other places for now. I just want to just get this consistent and mainstream. So going live on YouTube is where it's at. Okay, so this is my podcast, the Real Conversation, Real Motivation podcast, where we dive deep into real conversations to share powerful stories of overcoming obstacles and finding motivation. I am your hostess of the mostest, Michelle Bradford, and I will be bringing you inspiring topics and just hopefully we can start getting some guests on my podcast. I want to kind of spice this up a little bit, get some different perspectives. So I'm going to be working on talking to some friends and some different people to see if I can get some people on my podcast. So if you're interested, please let me know. I will let you on the podcast. Um, you know, Starting where I am and being simplistic, simple as I could possibly be, and I just want to turn on the camera. I was not going to be on camera anymore, but today I just decided to go live. And so I just want to share my story, of how I've overcome and some of my advice, these are things that work for me, but taking a real conversation and putting a spin on positive, some of the stuff is negative, some of the stuff is toxic, but learning how to spin um, a spin, a twist on it and making it positive. So I just am very happy to be here and I'm joyful that I'm able to come and talk to you guys just for a moment. But today's topic is the pros and cons of keeping your friends list or your friend circle small. So I will tell you that the reason why I want to talk about this is because living in Florida right now has been a challenge for me with meeting people, meeting new people, and there's so many different cultures um, and people of all walks of life. And it's really hard to get to know people. And the few people that I've gotten to know here, there's quite a few of them that have passed through. I don't trust. I've had more negative friendships here than I can say positive. There are a few people here that I know that I could trust, I can reach out to. But because Florida is so large and the central Florida area is so huge, I don't get to see some of these people for months of Sundays because number one, I work from home. So I don't go out much. And if I go out on the weekends, I have to feel up to it. So um, I am disabled. I have several chronic illnesses. I have some mental and physical disabilities. And so because of those two things, sometimes it's difficult for me to get out on the weekends and drive an hour and a half, because I live somewhere away from most people. Where I used to live is over an hour away. And so that's just by Google standards. But when you get into traffic, it could be longer. So, I don't get out a lot. And so that's part of, the issue. But the other issue is that when I do meet people, the challenge is that they crazy. They are manipulative, they're narcissists, they're needy, just all these things that I can't deal with on a regular basis. I'll be honest with you that my tolerance level nowadays at 55 years old is small. And the reason why that is because stress can kill me. You know, my blood pressures have been crazy bananas for years. And so for me, it's all about simplicity and respect and understanding. But you have these toxic people out there that they don't show their face right away. And then once you get to know them a little bit more, you realize that they are hecka toxic and you don't want to deal with them. Um, so I'll give you some examples of some people that I've met along the way that I've had to kick to the curb, or we kicked each other to the curb, or we just now I don't even kick people to the curb. I just kind of walk away. I don't need closure. I don't want to talk about it. If you are toxic, I am kind of done, you know. And so I used to be a toxic, negative person. When I was in the heart of my sickness, I was bad. So I can identify these people. So now that I've overcome that in my life, to understand that, you know, you have to pour into yourself positivity and love and light and health and, you know, wellness. You got to pour that into yourself. You got to speak it over your life, you know, and not speaking the negative and toxicity and the sickness and the da 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 da. So for me, I've overcome. And so if I can overcome, these other people can too. My issue is that people are just toxic and I can't deal with it. So my friends list, I can't even say I have any like really close friends. I have some people that I'm close to that are acquaintances. We see each other maybe 3 or 4 times a year, maybe five. I'm getting to know some of them a little more. There's one from Kansas City. We hang out every once in a while. I love her to death. She's amazing, but you know we don't see each other often. Miss Mary is one of my loves. I don't get to see her. I didn't see her for a long time because she lives over an hour away. So it's like an hour and a half away. So everybody is away from me. When I moved over here, I really honestly did not think about what I was doing when I left Tampa, when I left Plant City. And so I'm thinking about moving back to that direction if the Lord is willing, if I don't end up going to South Carolina, which I don't know if that's happening or not, you know. So I'm here until I'm not here. Let's just say that. So anyway, so let's just talk for a minute about the pros and cons of keeping our friends list small. So let's talk about that for a little bit. So I'm going to take my glasses off because I don't like reading my computer with my glasses. I have lost weight and my glasses are a little too strong for me. So I am waiting for glasses to come in on the 21st. And so I'll be able to read and do computer work and actually see far away. So anyway, so as we are talking about, you know, friends, you know, and keeping our friends list small, what's the pros and cons? So no matter how old you get, friends are always important in life. I mean, I have some friends in Kansas City I've known since childhood, and we don't get a chance to talk to each other all the time, but I cherish my friendships, you know, even though sometimes I don't get to see them when I go home, but I'm planning a party come up. We had one a couple of years ago. We're going to plan another one. We had one, actually, we had one for my birthday last year. We all went skating. I got to see everybody. So this year we're going to do Going Hard in the Yard #2. And so we're going to invite all the people again, whoever wants to come to Going Hard in the Yard. Hopefully we're having it in July. I'm thinking July is when we're going to do it. I was going to try and do it in June, but my coworker, who is my backup, she's going to be out of town parts of June. 2 different parts of June. So I have to be at work. So I'm going to do it probably in July. So anyway, you know, you have family by your side, but it's really important to have true friends. You know, it's a blessing. So, but unfortunately, we reside in a selfish and mean world, and getting a true friend is really difficult. It really is. You know, This is one of the main reasons why we compromise. We compromise on friendships. I will tell y'all that I've had some friendships that I knew they were toxic, they were nasty, it was combative. We talked at each other, we never talked to each other. It just wasn't a good fit, but we kept hanging on because we're friends. But when you realize that when you move out of that place like that and move into a calmer place, you don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. You don't want to deal with combative people. So when you're probably younger, you probably had a large group of friends like I did. In fact, chances are you had an entire class, your entire class, like high school class, was your friend. But as people grow, your list becomes smaller and smaller, and then we're left with like 2 or 3 people. So that's why we only have limited friends in adulthood. I will tell you, it gets lonely here. I don't have a boyfriend. I've been single for a very long time, so 16 years. I've dated a couple of people here and there, but they didn't work out for this reason or that reason. So I have been alone, not just in friendships, but also in relationships. So it makes it double hard. And then being disabled and, always having to drive places, it's been hard. I will tell you that my coworker, she is awesome, and we have bloomed a friendship. She started 3 months ago, and I really love her. Her family is awesome. She's amazing. So, and she's much younger than me, but she could be my daughter, but she's such a wonderful human being. And I like being in her company. I like talking to her. She is just an amazing human being. So I am grateful for her being in my life. But there are some people that um, you just have to know. So all of us need friends to survive. We are like, they're like our support system. I always say, since I moved to Florida, you have to create your own support system because, and even when I was in Kansas City, I will tell you that my family has not been very supportive of me with my disability, with my illness, with hospitalization, and different things like that. I've had a few family members, but for the most part, most of them were disconnected and they were not around, and that's just how it is. So I can't pick my family, but I can definitely pick my support system. So it's true that we get support from family sometimes as well, but there are times when we need our friends more than our family. So like when you say you're stuck in a problem, but you can't share with your family, or you have something that's going on and you need that friend that's not judgmental, in certain situations, sometimes you're left with nobody other than going to your friends. So that's why we call our friends our extended family. So, I love that for us, having extended family. So the sad part about having friends is that not all of them are true to you. That is absolutely true. They are not true to you. Some of them are jealous of you, while other ones are false in your face, or they fake in your face. They have this mask on. And so it's really hard to find friends in need. So, if you're lucky enough to have such friends, you should really truly treasure him or her. So when we're young, we may befriend anyone we meet. I think about all these different people I met at work. There's this one girl that I used to work with at a hospital in Kansas City, and we used to sit right next to each other. I was so dumb. I was such a doormat because I think about how I would drive, and then she didn't have a car and she didn't drive, and I would pick her up every day and we became friends. But I've seen real quickly that I was doing more for her than she was doing for me. Right. So, but at the end, I actually was out of work and I got my income tax, and her rent was late, and she needed $200 and she asked to borrow it. Do you think I ever got that money back? I'll give it back to you next week. I never got it. So that's one example. So recently, I've been in Florida almost 8 years, and so in these years, the last 8 years, man, I've had a lot of crazy people in my life. The lady that said I tried to poison her, lied on me, cheated on me. That was one. Uh-oh. All right. So that was one. And then I had another lady that she was in the military. She was a combat vet. She was nuts. So she just, because I was younger than her, she would do stuff like I was a child. And I'm like, I'm not a child, I'm a grown woman. But one day she was having a moment. And in that moment, it was like she was back at the place that she was having the problem with the people. And she was yelling and screaming in my car. And y'all know I have head issues. I got brain injury. I'm sick. And all I did was like, can you kind of lower your voice a little bit because it's bothering my head? All the while I'm driving on the highway because I don't even remember where we were going. And so when I tell you, this lady said, I don't give a F about nobody and their illness and me being loud. She was yelling and screaming. And the way she was wailing, you guys, I was scared she was going to hit me and kill us. So I immediately I was in the far left lane. I got all the way off I didn't say anything else. She was still going off. I got off of the ramp, got on the return ramp to take her back to her house. And as I was driving, it was silent. I was scared to death. I had never been so scared of somebody in my life. This woman was 6'4" or 5. I mean, 6'4" or 5. She was stout. She was not a small. She wasn't fat. She was just solid. And she was a military person. She's handled guns. She's handled all kinds of stuff. I wasn't trying to get in no battle with this woman. I was not trying to get into battle with her. So I took her back to her apartment. And let me tell you, she got out of my car and said, okay, girl, I'll talk to you later. Like it was nothing. I never, ever, I peeled out of the parking lot. I think I blocked her number. I never, ever, ever seen this woman again. When I tell you that I've had a couple of instances with her in the beginning, we were cool. So this is a perfect example of meeting somebody. I think we were around each other maybe 6 months or so. We went out a few times, but I just felt like she felt like she had to chastise me or act like because I was younger than her. I'm like, dude, I'm in my 40s. I don't need you to tell me what to do. You're only a few years younger than me. And so I'm just telling y'all, it was crazy. So the harsh reality of life is that people will eventually show you who they really are. And so you have to believe them. Stop listening to their words and pay attention to their actions. So it's crazy, So I'm going to share y'all right now. I'm going to share with you something that I had wrote a while ago. I don't remember how long ago it's been since I wrote this, but I'm just going to write this. This is something that I wrote down different topics that I want to discuss on my podcast. So this is one where I was like, I'm a woman with a small circle of people around me. Quality matters more than quantity. I am secure in who I am. I am confident and value my self-worth. I have put in a lot of work over the years to better myself and move away from the negativity, the drama, and the toxicity. I have had to stand alone in order for God to elevate me. I have the strength and protection I need to navigate my life. My energy is worth more than gold, so I am selective on who I allow in my space. I have walked away, which has been very difficult at times, so I can pick up pieces I've lost along the way. I value my peace, and I will not allow a negative energy into my space. You can want better for somebody, but who doesn't want better for themselves. So let me repeat that. You can't want better for somebody who doesn't want better for themselves. So again, we had this topic before where we talked about stop setting yourself on fire to keep people warm. Well, that goes for friends too. So when you are, picking your friends, pay attention to their actions and not their words. Because as we get to know the true colors and the intentions of people, we grow and tend to move apart from them. I can see people, and the song that comes to me right now, I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I love that song. For a long time, I couldn't put my finger on like mental illness and behaviors of people. And so now that I've learned so much more about people and, psychiatric traits of people and still learning, I can look at a person, I can feel a person, their energy is off or whatever. And, I'm one of those people, I'm like, my hands are up. I'm not going to be dealing with that. And I'm backing away. So in the example that I gave you about the lady that I dropped off at her house, that was one of the most scariest situations I've ever been in around a person, besides when I was younger. I had a situation with a young man who jumped me. Didn't know me. He was on drugs. Didn't know me at all. So that's just a whole nother. That's another good one. Woo! That guy who jumped me. All my friends were around us, and nobody did anything. Even when I went to the police station, the friend that I was riding with said that she did not want to be a witness because she didn't see anything, even though she was there and she saw it all. Lies, which is why we're no longer friends. I love her. She's my son's godmother. But at the same time, there was multiple situations where I was put in a place where I felt like I was on my own. So I'm sorry, but my friends are down for me. If something's popping off, they right there with me. They're not gonna be like this. They're gonna be like, what the heck? What's going on? I'm the same way. I don't need to know. If my friends, something's popping off with my close friends, I'm in the trenches with you, baby. And I'm gonna make sure if we get beat up, we're gonna get beat up together, because I'm not going to be a friend to you in at home and then in the streets. If something pop off, I'm like this. I didn't see anything. And so I had to let her go, even though it was really hard for me. And even now I see her on Facebook and I really miss her. I miss her family, but I can't be around somebody who is not a true friend to me, that have allowed things to happen where I felt like I couldn't count on her. She was not a good friend of mine. I realized that, even though I love her to death, but I love her enough to leave her. And it's been many, many years, probably 15 years since I've talked to her or been around her. It might have actually been longer than that, because I've had brain surgery. And so that's it doesn't not stop hurting. I have several friends. I have some that I've hurt and they don't want to be around me. And so in my toxic stage of my life, I have several people, they're not friends because they kicked me to the curb because of my behaviors. This is why I wanted to change. This is what made me change, because these people that I've known, that I cared about, but I lashed out at them because I was in pain, I was suffering, I was going through, I was mad. And so when you're toxic and mad, you're jealous because people's lives are moving on and you're stuck in one place. And so I understand, the thoughts that people with negative, toxic traits. And so I also have family members with those same traits that are hateful, nasty, ugly. And I did not want to be those people, being in my 70s and 80s, being by myself, not having anybody. Well, I'm on that path now, but more of me being by myself now is that I had to be by myself in order to elevate, in order to purge, in order to get better as a person and be better. So I had to be by myself for that, because the patterns that you've created in your life took a lifetime for you to create. So it's going to take just as long for you to remove those patterns and start working through them, and I'm still working on a lot of stuff internally. But as a person, I'm a better person than I ever have been in my life. And I'm happier because I don't have the stress and stuff. So, I just wanted to share that with you. I take ownership of my shit, because of who I was. I take ownership of the people that don't want to be my friends anymore. I take ownership of that. I am sorry for what I did to you or said to you or acted towards you. I don't know. Some of the times I didn't even know why I was doing it. It was just subconsciously. It was part of my being. It was part of who I was. But I don't want to be that person anymore. So I have worked on changing and being better. So what helped me to identify behaviors is when I moved to Florida and I was friends with that lady, and the tables turned so quickly. I really had to investigate and understand and do research. And then I had a coworker who was just like her, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on with people in Florida? And when I tell you, it was tragic. It was, all of my really bad experiences with mental behaviors and negativity have been in Florida. Social media and these people, hand in hand. And so, but I did not let those people taint my thoughts of Florida or of, living here. I believe that they had to be on my path, because when you talk about real conversation and when you talk about motivation, you can't motivate people unless you can identify the negative sides of motivation. What are the negative sides? Negative people being negative and nasty. You got to be able to identify that. You can't just keep going in life and being positive, 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 everything, la, 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 la. And there's no negative things because people go through stuff all the time. I'm going to tell y'all, I had a really rough childhood. It was rough. It was not good. My early adulthood wasn't good. Most of my life, I was sick. I felt neglected. I didn't feel the love. I was the parentification. I was parentized with my brothers and sisters. I'm going to write a book. And let me tell y'all, I have my title of my book, and I'm excited because I was writing a post one day, and I'm off topic. I apologize, but I was writing a post one day, and I was going to share this as a motivational quote, but I decided not to. So I turned my pain into purpose, and that came to we have this thing at work where cycle gets on a call and a person speaking about their life, about motivation, and the thing was what is your purpose? And so as I looked at that and I started kind of looking at it, what is my purpose? I turned my pain, all the pain, the sorrow, the toxicity, the negativity, the talking about people, the jealousy, I turned my pain into purpose. My purpose is to encourage and motivate and inspire. My passion are people in service of others in my job, in my life. I'm not servicing people as much as I want to right now because as I've gotten older, it's gotten a little bit worse. But in my younger years, I did a lot of service of others, a lot. And so my service now is online and talking through different things. That's why I started a podcast. Real Conversation, Real Motivation podcast is about overcoming trauma, trauma bonding, narcissistic behavior, jealousy, all kinds of things. And so this is just one of those topics. So let's talk about the pros of having a small friend circle. So as I just said, few fights, less drama. Pooh, that is what it's all about. Less drama. I can tell you on one hand how many people I talk to on a regular basis. I have two best friends in Kansas City. I have a childhood friend in Kansas City. I haven't talked to her since last year. And before that, it had been a long time. But it's like we start off where we were. I have a friend that I've rekindled a friendship with. We're still kind of, she sends me Bible quotes and stuff every day, but we don't talk as much because she works a lot. So, but whenever she comes to Kansas City, I always go by her house. I always drive by her house, or she comes by my mom's house. And then my friend in South Carolina, we have a really strange friendship. It is not strange, it's unique because I met her online from what happened with that lady that I met when I first moved here. She took my side and we became really good friends. And so I love her to death. I've only met her once, but she's one of my best friends. We talk all the time. And I can see my coworker being a really, really good friend of mine. So I'm really grateful. I have my Florida friends and associates, and I have my Kansas City friends. And I have a lot of close people that are like family there, but then I have some that are like my besties. You know what I mean? So they range from, associates to good friends to best friends, then family. So the next thing is close bonding. So when you're with a limited number of people, clear means that you have chosen your people. So the people that you're with right now are the ones for you. You guys are together because you gel well together. There's less fights, you have more fun, and you act like each other's support system. Support is pouring into somebody and that person pouring into you. It's not somebody coming along and just take, and you give. If somebody is taking, that is a spiritual vampire, and that is not your friend. So this means that your friends have a close bond, which matters the most in every friendship. And importantly, you guys trust each other. So friendship is all about trust. If something pops off, I want to be able to trust that you're going to be there for me, and not like the lady I was telling you about in Kansas City that was my friend, that she was never there for me. We supposed to be close. This was my son's godmother. We supposed to be close. And every time she failed me. And so I had to let her go because that was necessary for my growth. So trusting each other is very important. So if you don't have my back, you don't have my front, you don't have my side to side, I can't trust you and I can't be around you. So my real friends, they got my back, so we're going to talk about cons as well. So cons, you are not happy or satisfied. So I'm going to tell you, one of my cons is I really wanted a really good friend here in Florida. Somebody that like my bestie, somebody that we could hang out on the weekends and have a great time. Maybe 2 or 3 times a month we hang out. I don't have anybody like that. There was a girl here in Newport Richey where I live that I met, but she liked girls. And when we met, I don't know that she thought, I don't like girls. There's nothing wrong with, being gay, but I'm not gay. So I really, truly believe that she was trying to wear me down. I believe that she thought I was that, she kept calling me her bestie and we had just met. So I'm watching her actions and not listening to her words. And of course, as you guys know, I'm always feeding people. I love to feed people, to give to people. And she did the same. But slowly but surely, her mask started falling off. And I started seeing her for what she really was. But honestly, you can't turn me out. Excuse my language, but I'm just saying. So something happened during the hurricane. 2 things happened during the hurricane before I left the behavior. We went out to eat dinner and her behavior towards the waiter was just ugly. And I told her so. And she's like, was I wrong? Yes, you were. And she didn't think she was. But anyway, and then, when I asked her to do me a favor, and the way she acted towards me, her tone of her voice. And I started thinking about it and it was an emergency. And I thought about it and I said, you know what? I'm better off figuring this out on my own. I'm not going to ask nobody to do nothing for me. And so I kicked her to the curb, but it was building up. The mask started shifting and I was like, something ain't quite right here. So I had to kind of back away from that. So anyway, so many of us are there who want to, that don't want to be part of a small group, but due to circumstances, we're forced to do so. So like with me working from home, my neighbors are not that friendly around here. So I don't have any friends in my neighborhood. I live in a complex, but I don't have any friends here. So when you see larger groups, you automatically feel sad. I see women and they're out with their friends having dinner and I'm by myself. And it's kind of sad sometimes, it's like, dang, I wish I had some people that I could hang out with sometime. So the bad part about it is, it's just, sometimes you get lonely. So, should you be more assertive? I've tried. I've gone on a few, Facebook groups and I've joined some groups, but I've only been to 1 or 2 outings. I don't know. I just felt kind of weird. I don't even know. But, I am planning on, if I don't move to South Carolina, I'm going to move to a 55 and over community. And maybe that'll be a good place for me because they have community activities and swimming pool and all this stuff. And people always doing activities in the neighborhood. And so I'm thinking about moving back to Tampa if I don't move to South Carolina. So I think, and my lease is up here in December and I have to give them a 60-day notice in September. So I have a little time before I can make a decision on what the next steps are. So when you have small groups, it's less fun. When you have a larger group, you have more fun, and so I do like a large group of people sometimes, but I like my small group. Like for my birthday, oh my gosh, I had a wonderful time. And let me just tell y'all, my director came, my manager came, my coworker came, her husband, my director's wife, one of my customers that works at the hospital, one of my ex-coworkers that used to work at the hospital, and her husband, and my customer that works there, her daughter came, and then my godmother, my play mama, the one that lives here in Florida, Miss Mary, she came with her daughter. And then I met some people while I was there. Now, guess what? Y'all won't believe this, But a guy stopped me. He said I was beautiful. He gave me his card and I lost it. Can you believe that? He was professional. He was handsome and I lost his card. I can't believe it. I'm just so like upset about it, but I'm like, whatever. It was meant to be. I guess it'll be. But I don't know what happened to the card. I think I dropped it. But anyway, so I met a lot of people, strangers, just we were dancing on the dance floor. We had food and drinks. They did a shout out for my birthday. Thanks, Impulse. I appreciate y'all. I love Impulse. They're a Caribbean band, live band. And so when I tell y'all that I am smiling from ear to ear because I had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. And I'm really grateful that these people came out to spend my 55th birthday. And so that's a large group to me because Shepherd's Resort is a lot of people, and there was a lot of people dancing with us, and we were laughing and having a good time. And so having a large group sometimes is nice, but I like my small groups of people. So fewer friends is fewer problems, So having a bunch of friends won't help you, or whatever in some situations. So having a smaller group is better, I think. But having that sometimes group of people where it's a large group, I think is really nice that we can actually do that. So it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So also, as we're talking, what time is it? It's 6:35. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So if you believe small groups are better, put a comment down below and tell me what you think about that. Because um, it's just you got to be able to trust people, and people will walk all over you. They'll walk all over your boundaries, things like that. And so if you don't give people boundaries, or if they just don't care about your boundaries, sometimes you have to let them go. So there's this well-known quote that says, you become like those 5 you hang out with the most. And that's life altering truth. And so I don't hang out with anybody. So pretty much I have been alone for most of my life here. I had my first second date, and that's all we did was have a second date. I hadn't had a second date in years. I finally had one. I liked him, and he decided that he didn't want to date me, 2 people at the same time, and he's dating somebody else, which that's fine. I'm glad he let me know in advance. He could have just not told me. So whatever. So, it's one of those situations where, it gets lonely, and, but it's not worth going out and meeting somebody that is going to be, I think that's why I shy away so much to people that are here. I love to meet new people, but I'm kind of like a little shy and, withdrawn a little bit from meeting people because people are so nasty, and down here, people are not friendly unless they're from the Midwest. I'm not trying to be funny, but when I know people from the Midwest, I can tell the difference between people that are not from the Midwest. And they always say Southern hospitality, but I'm going to tell you, Florida, the hospitality is not that great in some areas. I'm not going to say in all areas, but there are some areas that, they not that nice. So I'm not a cliquish person, and I never have been. Even in high school, I only had a few friends that I really hung around, and I started going to school in Kansas in the 8th grade, and so there were a numerous amount of people that I associate with. These are good friends of mine, and when I tell you that, when I go home, Lisa, I won't see her. I'm gonna see her every time I go home. I love you, Lisa. I see her every time I go home. I see Peaches and Raina every time I go home. No joke. I see them every single time. I see my niece, my brother every time I go home. My cousin Monica, I always see her when I go home. I'm trying to think of some other people, and forgive me if I forget. I see Janae. I always go by her house, or she came by my mom's house when I go home. My uncle. My mom's boyfriend, I'm just trying to think of all the people. And then there's some people that I hadn't seen in years that came to my birthday skating party that I hadn't seen in years, but we were really good friends in college and beyond because we were single moms. And so those people, I saw one friend I didn't see, and it's just like we never stopped seeing each other. So there's a lot of people that I see when I go home, and I'm just grateful. So like I'm going home in July, I think, and I can't wait. But down here, my friend Lonnie, I see her. I consider her a friend. We're not close friends, but we're getting to know each other. We're spending a little bit more time together. For the first couple of years, I didn't know she lived here. I met her like a couple of times in Kansas City during some of the worst times of my life, sickness wise, pain wise, before surgery wise, after surgery wise. I only seen her a couple of times, so I didn't really know her that well. We've hung out a few more times down here, but not much. But I know that she's a good person, and I appreciate that. So she has several friends from Kansas City that live here that I'm associate. I see them every once in a while, but I'm not really. We're just acquaintances, but they're good people. I don't have a lot of people that I hang around down here. It's mostly by myself, and so I just I would like to have a good friend, and I speak that into existence, that live here. Somebody that we mesh well with, that likes to go and hang out and do stuff. Maybe go do some food reviews together. But I don't like the square peg and the round hole friendships, and I kind of try to stay away from those. I'll check on those people and I'll talk to them, but if I feel like I'm putting more out there to try to see you, to try to to set an invite with you to go somewhere, and I'm always doing that, but you're not, I kind of stop because I don't want to pour my energy into you when it's just sliding off of the wall. So we have to like, it has to be a give and a take. And so I don't have a whole bunch of that give and take. You know what I mean? So I have another friend, she's sick just like I am. But you know, life gets in the way sometimes, and we never got a chance to meet until I moved out of Plant City, and she came to my birthday thing. And I'm sorry, I forgot about Natasha. She did come to my birthday thing as well. So I apologize, Natasha. She did come, and love her to death. She's got a sweet spirit. She's just a really sweet person too. My memory is just bad, so I apologize. But we don't get a chance to see each other too often. I've met her, I think, one time. Actually, that was the second time I met her, but we've talked on the phone a few times. She's on my Facebook, but we don't get a chance to see each other. I don't feel like driving far away all the time. And sometimes maybe we can meet in Tampa, but because she lives in Plant City, or if I know I'm going to be in Plant City, like seeing my chiropractor, I'll try to set up a time to meet her if she has time, which I haven't been to the chiropractor in a while. So anyway, I'm just bumbling on, but I just wanted to, just kind of share that with you, that the challenges that I face as a 55-year-old woman in Florida, just making friends, let alone trying to have a relationship with somebody. So um, I don't have any friends that I could share my deepest, darkest secrets with. Not nobody. I mean, I'll be honest. I can share some things with some of my friends, but there are some things that I keep to myself. I hold to my heart, and I speak to God. So um, that's just it. But emotional wise, I have a lot of friends that I can call up when something happened. When my friend Donna passed away, I called my friend Michelle first, and I talked to her. I was so upset, screaming, hollering, crying. But Donna was my friend. She was one of my close confidants. She did know my darkest secret. She knew stuff about me that nobody did. And she was not judgmental. She was sweet. She was loving. She was caring. And that's why I think when she died, I had a nervous breakdown, because that was my first real true friend here that knew more about me than anybody. And she's gone. And so, you know, I put myself out there. I didn't know if I was going to trust this lady or not, but I put myself out there, and I'm grateful I did, because she became one of my major confidants in my life, and I miss her with my whole heart. So I will tell you that the pros and cons of keeping your friends, circle small, it's good and bad, but um, I don't need 20 or 30 friends. I have a lot of acquaintances. I have a lot of people that I can call and talk to or hang out with when I go to Kansas City that are acquaintances of mine, that I love on. But we are not like best buds. I have some that are close, good friends that, my friend Tisa, I'll see her every time, almost every time I go to Kansas City in some shape, form, or fashion. She's a really good friend of mine. But my besties, Peaches and Raina, those are my besties. Nicole is my childhood best friend. We don't really talk that much, but love her to death. Kelly lives in Denver. We don't talk that much, but I love her to death. That's one of my best friends too. She was down for me when I was really going through, but I haven't got a chance to really see her. And all of these people came along different stages of my life. But when I talk to them, it's like we've not talked for a long time. And so I love these people. I just want to have some local people, that a local person, a good close friend of mine that I can, really confide in. And I think Nicole will really be that person. She's such a sweetheart, and I love her kids. I'm like, I don't want to be grandma. I just call me Aunt Michelle. And so I love them. I think they're awesome. So I'm grateful for the one friend that I do, like really close friend that I know that I do have in her. And I talk to her every single day, which is a benefit because every morning we get on a Zoom call and we catch up with each other from over the weekend. And she just makes me smile. So I'm grateful. So, but I'm a firm believer in staying alone rather than participating in a group that's negative, so I'm okay. I know that God will open doors for me. And so I'm trusting the process, and so I don't want to be around negativity that's going to affect my mental health and well being. You know what I mean? And so I have withdrawn from the drama. I have cashed out, and so and keeping my friends lives small has given me a peace of mind. You know what I mean? Small, just keeping it small gives me a benefit to just whew, exhale and breathe, that these people are people that I know I can trust. So I want to thank everybody who listens to this podcast. I appreciate you. I love you. I want to thank you all again. It's all about consistency. I'm trying different things out, trying to see what works for me. And so I want to thank you all for just coming and being a part of this. And if you could please subscribe to my channel. I have 12 subscribers right now, and I am patient, and I just want you to know that you're amazing. And as you're going on your journey of, healing and of motivating yourself and encouraging yourself, just know that I am praying for you. I praying for your well-being. So anybody that's listening to the sound of my voice, I am praying for your well-being. I am happy that you're here. And I just want you to know that just continue to be awesome. Being awesome is where it's at. So just continue being awesome, being kind, and letting go of all the chaos and negativity, and know that God is amazing and he is with you. So have a wonderful, amazing rest of your Sunday, which guess what? I thought today was Saturday all day. All day I thought today was Saturday until my alarm went off at 5:30 saying, get ready for the podcast. I didn't have a topic, but this is my topic. I have several that I have already wrote out. So stay tuned. Next week, I'm not sure what the topic is going to be, but stay tuned. So I will talk to you guys in the next one. God bless. Bye.